खांसी आती थी, मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगता है अभी। इधर और इधर थोड़ा सा तकलीफ हो जाता है खाने में। 3 दिन नहीं, अभी नहीं आई है। इधर ही शक है क्या? अच्छा, मम्मा घर पे ही होते हैं। जैसे मम्मा पहले थे वैसे ही घर पे अच्छा लगता था। रोज मम्मा आते थे तो गिफ्ट देती थी, कुछ भी ऐसा पुराने चीज़ों से, जैसे बॉक्स पड़े हुए हैं तो उसमें कुछ भी ऐसा दीवा को कुछ भी डाल देती, पेन, रबर, वो सब डाल देती, फिर गिफ्ट देती। अभी अच्छा लगता है। अभी मम्मा के बिना जी नहीं लगता। मम्मा के बिना जी नहीं लगता है। मम्मा के बिना जी नहीं लगता है। आधी मारती है, नहीं आ रही सो अच्छा लगा। सोने के टाइम पे मम्मा ने रहते थे, सोने के टाइम पे उसे पहले में ऐसे दुखता था। पहले मैं नीचे तकिया रखती थी, उससे नहीं दुखता था। ऊपर तकिया रखती ऐसा, तो उससे गर्दन दुखती हुई। मैं ऐसा दुखता था गला। अच्छा लगा, अच्छा है।
Hello, this is Dr. Omahani, and today we are going to discuss a case, but this case is different from others. Sometimes, continuing a case can feel very heavy because the vibes and aura of the consultation room become so intense that you feel if you continue even a minute more, you might break down into tears. That's exactly what happened to me when a 5-year-old girl, a beautiful, calm, and quiet child, entered my clinic one afternoon. Usually, many children come to me with simple cold or allergy cases, so initially, I thought, okay, this seems like another normal case. But then she spoke, and unfortunately, I couldn't record the initial case due to technical issues. However, I did have a recording of the follow-up, which we played at the beginning of the video. This was 3 days after treatment. Her grandmother told me, "Doctor, 5 days ago her mother passed away." I asked what had happened, and she explained her mother was a school teacher. Suddenly, she developed bruising all over her body. Upon investigation, it was found she had blood cancer, and within a few days, she passed away. I was shocked. Then I asked about the child's complaints. Her grandmother said, "Doctor, she sometimes has a cold, a runny nose, or sneezing. These start randomly." I asked about her behavior, and she said, she doesn't get angry. She is playful, never troublesome, and has a good nature. She remains calm. I asked her grandmother to step outside and spoke to the child personally. You might not believe it, but the child was sitting completely still, very calm, and speaking in a low voice. I asked, "My dear, what do you feel about your mother now?" She said, "She is with God." I said okay, and she continued, "But I feel sad." I thought to myself, this is a 5-year-old expressing such profound grief. I asked, "Why do you feel sad?" She replied, "It hurts me." At that moment, her emotions felt like a shaken bottle of Pepsi or Coke where everything inside is under pressure, building up, ready to burst outward, leaking slowly. That's exactly how this child's face looked. She was holding back tears, controlling herself completely, but I could see them in her eyes. She kept looking down and quietly expressing her pain, and my heart was filled with compassion and shock. A 5-year-old experiencing and processing such deep feelings, it was overwhelming. I decided that I had to complete the case in 5 minutes, otherwise I would cry. I asked her to describe her symptoms. She said, "Doctor, I feel pain in my throat, and I cannot speak. At night, the burning sensation in my throat increases when I lie on my pillow, and it hurts a lot." Here, I notice something very deep. Older patients, even 15 to 18 years old, often cannot describe their symptoms with this clarity. But this 5-year-old communicated her feelings exactly, perfectly describing what happens to her, step by step. I was amazed by her precise and well-developed communication skills. I asked, "What else do you feel? What goes through your mind?" She said, "I feel bad because my mother is not at home. When I come back from school, she used to be there, but now she isn't. "My elder sister hits me sometimes." I said, "So what do you do when she hits you?" She replied, "Doctor, I go to my father, but I am afraid when he is asleep that if I wake him up, he will get angry at me and will beat me." Here, I notice something unusual. A 5-year-old feeling hesitation in seeking protection indicates deep emotional sensitivity. A child should naturally not have hesitation towards parents in this young age. This attitude develops as a result of abuse. She added, "Doctor, in spite of beatings, my father loves me, he brings me toys." This child was so finely attuned to the emotions of others, careful not to misjudge her father's love, so sensitive, so perceptive. I also asked her about her mother's memory. I asked, "Earlier, you used to miss your mother. What do you do when you feel that way?" She said, "I go to my aunt and tell her I miss my mother." I asked what her aunt would do, and she said, "She tells me to go play outside." As a doctor, it became very clear, mothers provide the deepest, most personalized care, which cannot truly be replaced, even by grandparents. When a child loses this care at such a young age, it leaves the deepest, invisible wounds. This little girl had suppressed her emotions, keeping everything inside. Her energy was so intense that even my aura was shaken. I could feel the weight of her pain, and I knew if I continued talking for more than 5 minutes, I would break down. I had to keep telling the child again and again, "My dear, look here," while talking, "Come on, look here," but she kept getting distracted repeatedly. This constant distraction caught my attention, and we can understand it through the rubric mind, awkward in tailoring, embroidery, and dressmaking. These 3 activities, tailoring, embroidery, and dressmaking, all require fine concentration, delicate coordination, and mental steadiness. So when we see a disturbance here, it's not about the skill itself but about the mental focus that underlies such precision. In this child, the repeated inability to maintain eye contact and her constant restlessness revealed a similar kind of fine-level disturbance, as if the mind and attention were not in sync. Psychologically, this reflects inner distraction, lack of coordination between attention and response, and difficulty in holding a continuous thread of focus. It's as though her inner rhythm was fragmented. Her body was present, but her mind kept slipping away, and this subtle misalignment is exactly what this rubric represents. I decided to give her magnesium carbonicum 200. After 3 doses, almost after half an hour, I asked her, "My dear, how do you feel now compared to before?" She said, "Doctor, the pain in my throat is gone. I feel good now." I asked her to rate her relief on a scale of 1 to 10. Count on your fingers and say. She said 12. I was overjoyed. This moment reminded me of the privilege we homeopaths have, through our medicines, at a time when a patient is so vulnerable, raw, and sensitive, we can help them feel relief. The joy of seeing her relief was indescribable. After 3 days, when she came back for follow-up, she was more open, playing around the clinic, and communicating beautifully. She reported no pain in her throat, no discomfort while sleeping. She felt completely fine. She said she wanted to become a doctor. Some lessons from this case are profound. Children are like sponges, they absorb everything, and if we communicate properly, they express their experiences openly. Adults, however, often filter their emotions due to social and moral concerns, making their case-taking more complicated. Pediatric cases are often simpler in terms of clarity, yet emotionally far more intense. This case was a roller coaster of emotions: fear, happiness, sorrow, joy, all intertwined. It reminded me that as homeopaths, we not only prescribe medicine but also witness and support the deepest vulnerabilities of our patients. Every interaction teaches us, humbles us, and expands our understanding of life, love, and care. If we look closely, we'll see that a mother is like a shield for her child, a protective layer that stands between the harshness of the outer world and the child's tender inner world. She is that first wall of safety. She is the one who teaches us the basics of life: how to write, how to speak, how to walk, how to eat. All those small yet precious manners are gifts from our mother. So when that basic support system, that foundation, is suddenly taken away from life, it shakes us deeply. When someone takes care of you effortlessly, without complaint, without expecting anything in return, when someone gives you their love and attention without seeking a single reward, such a bond becomes sacred. It creates a unique form of love, a selfless connection. A mother's love is not transactional, it's pure, it's giving, it's unconditional. Even when we are hurt by our mother, we can never truly hold negative feelings toward her. Somewhere deep down, we know she is the reason we exist, the reason we are safe. Even in the animal world, if you observe carefully, when a young one is left with its mother, a special bond forms. Even the wildest animal keeps a soft corner for its mother. Look at a lion's family. The father may stay somewhat distant from the cubs, but the mother is incredibly gentle and nurturing. She might never fight for herself, but for her children she will fight back fearlessly. And the cubs know it, that no matter what happens, if they're ever hurt or scared, the first place to run to is their mother. It may look cute on the surface, but it holds oceans of emotion within. Through this, we also understand something about life. Even if you are struggling financially or physically, if there is someone in your life whose very presence gives you peace, whose existence brings a smile to your face, whose touch offers rest when you are exhausted, then everything else suddenly feels lighter. All hardships seem bearable when that person, that source of comfort, is still alive and present in your life. As a homeopath, I often realize that we don't treat only the patient's physical symptoms. We work gently layer by layer through their mental and emotional states. We listen, we guide, we uncover the hidden pain. And in doing so, it's not only the patient who transforms, we heal too. Those empty spaces within us also begin to fill quietly. This isn't a one-sided relationship, it's a shared evolution. Both healer and patient grow through it. In this particular case, when we looked deeper, we saw a little child who was searching everywhere for affection from her father, her sister, her grandparents, her aunt. But all she received in return was rejection and neglect. That's the most fitting word, neglect. No one can ever love you the way your mother does. And that exact feeling, that deep void and longing, was what we saw in this child. That's why I prescribed Magnesia carbonicum for her. No repertory was used. Medicine was prescribed based on understanding only. Wait, we're not yet done. There's one more beautiful case. This second case I'm about to share is very close to heartwarming because it shows how beautifully homeopathy works on animals. It's a story that's both emotional and surprisingly amazing, so much so that even while understanding the pain behind it, I couldn't help but make your heart smile. A 6-month-old cat was suffering from meningitis and recovered completely within just 2 days of homeopathic treatment. The pathological symptoms were neck swelling, head tilted, unable to hold her neck upright, staring blankly at the walls as if in confusion, weakness, and uncoordinated gait. All of these symptoms had been present for about a week. The owner had already taken her to a veterinary doctor, where meningitis was diagnosed. When the owner reached out to me, she said, trembling, "I'm shivering, I don't know what to do. It feels as if the cat's body has given up on life." I asked her not to admit the cat anywhere and instead calmly describe everything that had happened during the past week, every emotional and physical change she had noticed. The owner began narrating that the cat was very attached to her mother, but as she grew older, her mother started to dissociate from her emotionally and physically. Things worsened when the cat saw her mother bring home 3 new kittens. The moment she saw them, something broke inside her. She walked out of the room, and from that exact moment, she stopped holding her neck up. Her head kept bending forward and downward, as if all strength had left her. I prescribed magnesium carbonicum 1 mg, 3 doses. No repertory was used. This case was pure grief, specifically grief rooted in family rejection. The emotional picture reflected a feeling of being a dejected child, deprived of love, as if proper care and affection were never given, brooding and silent suffering, a deep sense of starvation, not for food but for care, protection, and emotional nourishment, an intense internal turmoil. All this led to a repression of emotion, the pushing down of painful experiences into the unconscious. When that repression reached its limit, the mind-body connection manifested physically, in this case, as meningitis. Soon after the medicine was administered, the owner called me laughing in disbelief and said, "Doctor, the cat just ran out of the house." 2 days later, the improvement was remarkable. She was 90% better, there was no pain or swelling in the neck, she was able to hold her neck upright again, cheerful and playful, her appetite returned, there was no more clinging or over-attachment to her mother, and she now goes outdoors freely and happily. This case reminded me once again that homeopathy doesn't just heal bodies, it heals broken bonds, unspoken grief, and silent hearts. Even an animal, without words, expresses the deepest human emotions of rejection, longing, and love, and when treated at that level, recovery becomes almost magical. See you in the next study session. Take care.
शादी का सुन्नत तरीका ये है कि लड़की के वालिद या जो भी वली होता है उसकी इजाज़त हो, वो अपनी बच्ची से इजाज़त ले ले। अगर वो कुंवारी है तो उसका खामोश रहना ही उसकी इजाज़त है। अगर कुंवारी नहीं है तो वो ज़बान से बता सकती कि हाँ मैं शादी के लिए तैयार हूँ, निकाह के लिए तैयार हूँ। और वही रजामंदी होना चाहिए और 2 गवाह उसमें होना चाहिए और उसमें दूल्हा या लड़का होना चाहिए और उसमें महर तय होना चाहिए और 2 गवाह होना चाहिए। बस ये इस तरह से अगर बैठ के आपस में बातचीत करके निकाह करते हैं तो 5 मिनट में निकाह हो जाता है। उसमें ये कि कोई निकाह पढ़ाने वाला हो जो खुतबतुल हाजा उसमें पढ़े, जैसे इमाम या कोई भी करीबी हो सकता है, और उसमें फिर पूछा जाए कि इतना इतना महर है और आप उसके लिए तैयार हैं इस निकाह के लिए, दोनों तरफ से रजामंदी है तो मसला ख़त्म, तो अब निकाह हो गया। इस तरह से आज से निकाह हो जाता है। इतना बड़ा उसके लिए मसला 1 महीने पहले जमा हो रहे हैं, फिर पूरे रिश्तेदार आ रहे हैं, फिर खा पी के फिर जा रहे हैं, फिर शादी को आ रहे हैं, फिर जा रहे हैं, फिर वलीमे को आ रहे हैं। तो ये इस तरह से यानी मंगनी, हल्दी और ये सारी खुराफात ये निकाह में नहीं है। ये सुन्नत नहीं बल्कि बिदात है। निकाह बहुत आसान है। बैठे बैठे एक बाप किसी से नौजवान से कहे मैं अपनी बेटी का निकाह तुमसे करने के लिए तैयार हूँ, तुम तैयार हो? और 4-5 आदमी बैठे मजलिस में, वो कहे ठीक है मेरे पास है, महर में देने के लिए तैयार हूँ। ठीक है, हाँ हाँ, ख़त्म हो गया निकाह।